Okay, guys, Goro's a little bit excited right now. He doesn't know what's going on, but I wanted to show him for a little bit when I tell you the story of what happened. This was about a month ago, okay? And normally, Jade and Goro stay in the front room of the house and sleep where the front door is, with a window that overlooks the street outside. So one morning, early in the morning, I'm in a total different part of the house. Goro starts going crazy barking. I mean, if you're a dog owner, you know that dogs have a different way of acting and barking depending on the level of what they think is going on. Like, for instance, someone might be in the street at night, Goro will bark a certain way. Someone enters the fence onto my property, now Goro barks and acts a totally different way. Someone knocks on the door. There again, Goro ups it even another level. So dogs have a different way of acting, their body language, how stiff they stand, hair standing up on their back, different things like that. You get my drift. If you're a dog owner, you know this. Well, I'm in another part of the house that morning, and Goro starts literally going crazy. You would think that somebody was kicking the door in. This dog was just barking so... He was barking like an emergency bark. I mean, it was just like... I was like, what in the world is going on? So I'm just getting ready to go see what's going on. Goro comes sprinting in to where I'm at. Runs so fast that he actually slides. Turns and comes back in to the front room of the house. Okay, I'm still coming on my way into the front room. Once again, Goro comes running in, barking the whole time. Spins around and comes back in. Now by this time I can see the window, which is right here. And the blinds are under this window. Ever since Goro's a pup, he goes to the blinds, he flips them up with his muzzle, and they go over the back of his head, and he can actually go into the window, or he stands up on the window sill, clear to where his chest and everything's showing. And when the UPS guy comes, they're amazed when he stands up in that window. I've had one of the UPS guys take down my number because they want me to contact the breeder so they can actually buy one of these after he's seen the dog. He just could not believe it. But anyway, so Goro flips the blind up and it goes over his head, and he's got his muzzle at the window, and he's standing stiff as a board. I mean, he's standing like, he looks like a statue made out of stone. And I'm like, what in the world is going on outside? You know, in the morning, it's daylight. I just couldn't figure it out. So, and he's crying. He's whining and crying. I go to the window, and I look outside, and there is a real little girl, maybe 7 years old. Small enough, very petite, that you could just pick her up and carry her, you know, like you would do a very small toddler. But she wasn't a toddler. She was laying in the street crying, laying in the middle of the street crying. He doesn't know what I'm doing because when I'm talking on camera and stuff, he doesn't get it. But she was laying in the middle of the street crying, and Goro was going crazy. He's like he wants to jump through the window. Goro was basically telling me about this little girl crying. He heard her crying. I could hear her. When I got to the window, I could hear her crying. Dogs hear much better than we do. That's a good boy. Let me see him for a minute. It's okay. It's okay. He just doesn't understand when I talk to the camera. He thinks that somebody else is in here, but he doesn't see him. So, okay, so I see the little girl, bright pink coat on, jeans, and she's in the middle of the street crying. So I put Goro in his cage. I have to put him in his cage because he is so distraught and upset over this. So I put him in his cage, get the little girl taken care of. Here what I come to find out was The girl, maybe she was 7 years old, maybe first grade, very small. Her and a little bit older brother and sister had went to the bus stop. They got on the bus, and for whatever reason, she did not. When she went back to where she lived, the mother was in an upstairs back room of the house in bed. And the little girl was so small, she couldn't knock hard enough for the mother to hear. It's a pretty big house. So the girl walks down the street, which happens to be almost directly in front of my house, and is so distraught and crying and such in a panic that she collapses in the street. Now, she was fine, and like I said, got her all taken care of. She was fine, and got home with the mother, and I consider that to be that Goro saved her, because in her mind, I'm sure that she thought she was being saved at that time. Because if you know or you remember what it's like if you're a little kid and you're in a store and you lose your mom and they can't find you, what you go through, you can imagine a little girl like that and being so distraught that she collapses in the middle of the street crying and can't even walk anymore. So Goro got lots of treats that day, and you know, it's just another thing that, you know, because Goro, every summer, there's kids playing outside, people coming and going in the street. Goro will go to the window, look at him. If it's nighttime, maybe he'll bark a little. He never acted like he did when he heard the little girl crying in the street. He literally was charging through the house when I started to come into the room, and he was barking like somebody was kicking my front door in. That's exactly the only way I can describe it to you. If you're a dog owner, it was like somebody was kicking in my door and they were halfway in. And I am convinced he knew this little girl was in trouble. I know he did, because, like I said, all summer kids play. Most times he don't even bark at him. He might look out the window at him, but he doesn't make any emotions toward the kids. If I'm walking him, he sees them, he looks. You know, he might try to pull to get over to where they're at so he can see them. Doesn't bark at them. So I'm 100% convinced he knew this little girl was in trouble. And that's why that when I started to come out to see, you know, why is this dog tearing the house apart? It sounded like he was going to tear the wall down. He came charging to me so fast that he slid and then ran back immediately to the window where he could see the little girl. So people need to take a second look when they want to judge these dogs and say that all pit bulls are bad or they should be banned, because there's a lot of good things that come out of dogs like this. I mean, who knows how long that little girl would have suffered before someone seen her. And I couldn't hear her because she was so small. The crying wasn't loud enough to come into the house where I was at, but the dog sure did. So how long would this little girl have suffered? The mother thinks she's on the school bus on her way to school and it's not going to be home till like 2 something. So the mother would not have looked for her, and being up in a big home, up in a back room, you can't hear this little girl tapping on your front door. So I just want to say thanks to Goro. Every time I think about that story, I give him an extra treat. He's a good boy. Come here, boy. Let's see if I can get him up here. Come here. Come on. Oh. Man, I'm telling you. 100-pound lap dog, he ain't. Yeah, it's a good boy, huh? He's a good boy. Sweetest, best, most loyal dogs I know. Don't hate him, guys. Give him a chance. It's the people that raise them wrong. It's not the dog's fault. These dogs can be the most loving dogs you've ever been around in your life. I guarantee you that. Alright, guys. This is H4T, Jade, Goro, and my boy Goro did save the day for that little girl. And I'm out.